Preview.
What it do, what it do, what it do. It's your friendly neighborhood coach, Cromeantennae, and we're talking all things dribble pull-ups in Season 5. Of course, the new Devin Booker animation, Kobe Bryant, Clay, Vassell, and of course the Meta Pro 2. We detail the pros and cons of each, so lock in and enjoy. First things first, we're gonna jump straight to controller settings. You guys know me at this point. Before we get off into any animations, animation variety, reasons why we like animations, we have to understand how to play the game, man. So we're gonna go to controller settings, and the shot time and visual cue that I've been using since day one is release. Quick tip for those who just coming from 2K23 to 2K24: jump is very early, set point is early, push is late, release is very late. For most of the year last year when I was in America, I used late, which I guess would be push. When I was forced to play on the TV in New Zealand for the first couple months before I got my monitor, I was using very late, which I guess is release. So that's why I like it. That's why I use it. And another thing is, for the gameplay coming after this, for every pull-up that I use the same exact shot speed and the same exact upper release 1 and upper release 2. But yeah, we'll talk more about that later. I'm just gonna get straight into the animations, or how to perform every animation, I think, more specifically. So we're gonna go to play now. We're gonna go to 2KU and freestyle. Obviously, the season 5 drop pull-up Devin Booker. His animations are elite. His layup, the dribble style, so on and so forth. His dribble style kind of meh, but I'm actually going to use Devin Vassell and his pull-up first, because I believe out of all the pull-ups that I showcased today, his has the most animation variety and the least consistent speeds across animations, which I think is the reason why people don't care for the animation. Also, some people just don't like how it looks. I love how it looks. I think it looks super smooth. But yeah, let's get straight to it. Also, another thing is, there's about 6 basic animations that you have to learn if you really want to like master every angle on every element of your dribble pull-up. So let's get straight to it. Oh, one more thing, there are R2 modifiers or variations and non-R2 variations or modifiers. Okay, so most people fade with R2, not without R2, because they're accelerating or dribbling out of a speed boost. So I'm going to show you the R2 ones first, and then the non-R2 ones second. Sweet. So, going to his strong hand, he's right-handed. R2. There it is. I don't really care for it because of the forward lean and increased contest. We'll talk more about that later. This is R2 diagonal up. Upright, more specifically. You see the difference here is there's a little bit more of a fall away here, and he holds the pose right there. This is R2 going forward, straight onto the basket. Less lift, very quick. I quite like it. This is R2 left up. I got the slow variation. The reason why people don't like it is because sometimes you'll get that one, the quick one, and the quick one and the slow one come at basically the same control angle. It's hard to know which one you're going to get, but my theory is that depending on where you at on the floor, like near the free throw line, you're going to get this fast one. But if you get the slower one, it's because you're farther from the basket. But again, it's a little bit hard to tell. That's why your upper release 1 and 2 is so important, because sometimes if you do get an angle that you don't expect, you can adjust to it on the fly. But this is R2 going to the left, which is obviously more of a fall away. By the way, there's going to be some crossovers between animations, and I don't mean this one. I mean some animations in packages are the same, and so Vassell's non-R2 pull-up, D Book's non-R2 pull-up, and Klay Thompson's all have similar animations. Not exactly the same, but there is some crossover between speed and lift. Anyways, these are the non-R2 animations now. Going to the right hand, it is the same as R2. This is the right hand diagonal up, no R2. She has got less lift than the one with R2. This is the one going straight on. You can see here the difference between the R2 and the non-R2 is the knees. That's the big difference here. He gets more of a dip on it. Non-R2, of course, I didn't do the damn leg from that far. This is the one going diagonal up left without R2 pressed. It's the same as R2, sadly. And then the one going to the weak hand, fall away, same as R2. And one more animation that people don't talk about is the fall away R2 aggressive fade from the basket. That is his R2 variation. And just so you know, I'm about that business. Of course, I play on Hall of Fame. So, those are the animation variations. And we're going to keep it moving. So now we're going to go to my career, and we're going to go straight to the build that we did all this on. I'm going to show the attributes on the build, the releases on the build, and of course, again, the animations that we're going to be toying with and showcasing in this video. Also, you see the heat check game of shirt, man. Word up to my boy RealTake614. Word up to you, famous enough, the OG, man. You know what I'm saying? Saucy, the gang, you feel me? This is the build that I use. Obviously, 97 mini is elite. Some would say overkill. It's how I play. I love it. The main badges that you get on Hall of Fame are main magician, blinders, guard up. These are really important badges to the playstyle. And Green Machine Hall of Fame as well. So Green Machine, guard up, open looks, mini magician, so on and so forth. I don't need to go over the build and stuff right now. But yeah, that's that. Now we're going to talk about the animations that we actually go through, we play through, and showcase throughout the video. So, first things first, we go through Pro 2, animation that any height, 6'9" and below can use. We go through Devin Booker, same as Pro 2. If you're 6'9" and below, you can use animation. We go through Kobe Bryant. You have to be at least 6'5" to 6'9" to use Kobe Bryant's fadeaway. Probably the most popular fadeaway for 6'6" and above. Then we have I want to say Klay Thompson next. Same requirements as Kobe Bryant. Klay Thompson is 6'5" to 6'9". One, I think to me the most underrated dribble pull-up in 2K, Klay Thompson. It's quick, it's snappy, it's consistent, and when you master the variations, it's hard to miss. And then we have Devin Vassell, 6'5" to 6'9" as well. To me, one of the prettiest, smoothest antes in all of 2K for the pull-ups. Yeah, people don't like it because it's a little bit slow. It's a little bit, not random, but it can be random with that diagonal up left animation. But yeah, I love it. I've been using this since Season 1, Season 2. Once Season 3 got here, I used Klay Thompson almost exclusively. On my locks, I use Kobe Bryant, but on my guards, I use Klay Thompson or Devin Vassell. But with the appearance of D-Book now, D-Book has been huge for me. I love D-Book. If I can find it, my God. D-Book is great. I used it all of 23 last year. By the way, some sleeper pull-ups if you don't really play the game like that. DeMar DeRozan is a sleeper pull-up, and it's so smooth. I mean, it's Debo, man. What you expect? One of the smoothest middies in the game. I also really actually quite like Gordon Hayward's pull-up as well. I've used basically every pull-up in the game. I'm a nerd. I love it, and it's a big part of my game as a shot creator. And Pro 2 is the one that actually turned me on its side since I was doing the video and doing content for the video, because I'm not gonna lie to you, bro, I hated Pro 2. I don't like it. I didn't think it got enough lateral separation. I thought it was too fast. But if you're into the diagonal up, the forward pulls as we call it, the forward pulls are elite. The blinders, the crabs, and so on and so forth. By the way, the R2 pulls and normal 2 are also really good, and they don't have any requirements. But again, I blabbered on for too long. Let's get to the upper release. It's Mac Alanis. Ignore the name. It doesn't mean anything. But if you look at the uppers, I have upper release 1 Sadiq Bey and upper release Lethal Shooter. I use a 50-50 blend on very quick because it's at 6'6". It's still super valid at quick, by the way, if you're 6'7" and 6'9". By the way, another thing, if you slow down your release speed, it will also slow down your pull-ups. Keep that in mind. So if there's a pull-up that you like, that you can't necessarily use at very quick, maybe try normal. It might become more manageable for you. I really love Sadiq Bey and Lethal Shooter because the release cue, along with the release visual cue, is super easy for me. I let it go at the forehead every time, no matter the pull-up. And yeah, it's super consistent for me. This is my favorite release combination since last year when they introduced Lethal Shooter to the game. And I just love it. Sadiq Bey speeds it up. Lethal Shooter evens it out and makes it more obvious to read. But yeah, that's it. And now we're gonna just jump straight to the animations. We're gonna start first with Devin Booker. And as we all know, Devin Booker is the star of the video, basically, I guess, right? Because it's the new season 5 drops. And I'll have the controls on the screen so I don't waste any airtime going over every mechanic for every animation that I go through. But to just jump straight to it, one of the biggest pros about this animation set is that it's smooth. The consistency of speed amongst every animation is relatively similar. If one's faster or slower than the other, it makes sense in the animation as well. There's no weird sort of like morphing or like being sped up in animations like Devin Vassell's, for example. I find his dribble pull-up to be a little bit jarring if I'm not in a rhythm or a flow offensively. I feel like with this pull-up in particular, I think it's elite for ball handlers, secondary ball handlers, players looking to attack from the wing going middle, from the wing going forward to get seals. But if you're going into the corner looking to fade baseline like right here, or out of the corner from corner to the wing, I don't think it's as effective because it doesn't mitigate contests and get enough lateral separation or lift, especially going to the weak hand with R2 as effectively. I still really like it for guards. I think it's elite for guards. And if you use the high pick and roll quite frequently and you get people on your hip and seal blinders and guard up shots, this is an elite animation package. If you have the confidence to shoot forward pull-ups, which elite competitive guards do, I don't think a lot of casuals do. If you feel good about shooting this shot right here, as far as being able to identify it's that it's open and shooting it, and getting players sealed on your back and put them in jail and then shooting it, this animation set is literally perfect. I don't think there's no flaw in the forward pulls at all with this animation set. And I think that's what sets it apart. It doesn't have the greatest strong hand, aggressive fades going to either side, but the forward pulls are magnificent. And the consistency of speed amongst every animation, no matter where you're going on the floor, I think is what really separates it between every animation set in the game, frankly. And it's really hard to get underneath. It's a beautiful animation set. But yeah, that's all I got to say about D-Book. The next we got is the Bean, man, Kobe B. Bryant. And for those of you that don't know, Kobe Bean Bryant is likely the most popular pull-up animation in the game. There's probably more 6'6" than 6'5" and unders. Not just that, I think there's a good reason for it. I think it's one of the only 2-motion pull-ups in the game. It starts with his knee. You see the knee bend first, the extension, and then the leg kick is the second part of the animation. That's generally the animation sort of core of the set. And I think that's why people really like it. It's easy to read no matter what camera angle you play on. It's easy to read no matter where you are on the floor, who's around you, because you'll always be able to have a cue somewhere within the animation. I think this is an elite pull-up for corner players and off-ball players. If you get a catch, you drive towards baseline, someone's jumping as you're falling away out of bounds after the shot, they're going to get an open contest at max. You're literally jumping higher on this ante than pretty much any other one. And you're falling away from the contest as well. It makes it super elite, I think, for corner players especially. It's what I use on my lock. It's my favorite animation to use on my lock. And it's super easy to read, especially with long arms. Because again, with a high lift, the longer your arms are, the even more obvious it becomes when you're letting the ball go, you see your hands and your wrist really well too, especially from the left corner going to the left elbow, and you're sort of dribbling towards yourself on 2K Cam. And if you're not ready for it, if you're not a good defender, you literally can't get a late contest. Some of these other pull-ups, you can get late contests, late jumps. If you're late jumping like that, you're not going to get a contest. Straight up. It is so good. I think it's really good for guards and rec. I would recommend it for big guards and pro-am because you have to do more forward, more direct, more snappy animations. So I think Pro 2 or Dribble for big guards is more effective, especially coming around screens. But in general, I think it's a really elite animation set. It's something that I really like. On really any of my big guards. But yeah, the next one is Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson has been my baby since the start of season 3. Shout out to my guy Terrible Parent TP. He was the first one I know to use Klay Thompson's animation set, and it is super fire, bro. It's super elite. It's the fastest. I would say it's the fastest animation set in the game. It's faster than D-Book. I think it's faster than Pro 2. But the problem lies in the strong hand fade. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. Going straight on, elite. It gets skinny and stunts and weird doubles like that, like hedging. You can really shoot in between, like in between people and in pockets. So it's elite for that. But it is really fast. And if you don't have an upper that you can read through that speed, it's difficult to use, I will not lie. And most players use uppers that speed up their jumper severely. I don't use that. I don't do that. So my lethal shooter makes it even easier to read and utilize at an elite level. But this fade right here, the one going to the strong hand baseline, not great, because every animation is fast except this one. So if you get it by accident, you're gonna miss it, or if you don't master it or know how to trigger it purposely every time you do it, you're gonna miss it. I've mastered this animation set down to a T. As you can see here, I'm shooting in between people because I know the drag that I get. I know how fast it is. I know what I can do with the animation, obviously. So I'm a huge fan of Klay Thompson. If I switch back from D-Book, it's gonna be back to Klay, frankly. And I think it's elite, especially if you have a particular upper that really blends well with his animation set. And just look at that, bro. Like, it's super. You can't contest it because it's so fast. And the lift is good. To have a really fast pull up and get good lift is very hard. It's very difficult. And I just love it. There's some more animation crossover between D-Book and Klay Thompson, by the way. The animation is also in D-Book's package. But yeah, I can't speak enough about it. If you're a corner player, don't use it. It's not going to go well. I'm not going to lie to you. The strong half fade is not good enough to dictate using it. Kobe Bryant's better. Pro 2 is better. But for guards, elite. And then we have a little bit of non-meta action with Devin Vassell next. The lesser known Devin, I like to say, as far as dribble pull-ups are concerned. I'm going to keep it a bean with you, brother. This animation is not competitively inclined. It is not it's not elite in any one category. It doesn't have great lift except going to the offhand with R2. It's on the slower side. It's not very fast except literally one animation, and it does have some speed variance issues where one animation can be decently fast, whereas one is very fast versus one is very slow. But the speed in general reminds me more of Kobe or Pro 3. Yes, I said Pro 3. We can talk more about the animation later. But I think if you want to do something away from the meta, if you're a contrarian like me, if you're a bit of a nerd like me, by the way, that's the fast animation, I think this is really good to go to. And that animation in particular is really elite, but the problem is that animation doesn't always come out, and sometimes this one comes out instead, and that's really susceptible to contests. This animation does a really poor job of reducing contests, and the animation after this one going to the strong hand, I think, shows that and perfectly. It has a really bad strong hand forward lean. If this were Kobe Bryant, this is a 24, 25 at max. Because it's Devin Vassell, we're leaning into the jump. It's a 49. It's not great. But I'm so used to shooting this particular animation that it doesn't really bother me. But if you want something different, I think Vassell is really good. Anyways, though, moving back to the meta, Pro 2. Pro 2, I think, well, I know Pro 2 is the most popular animation between all players 6'9" and under. It's the most popular small guard pull up in the game. And it's just it's the meta for a reason. Going forward, the diagonal right up, the diagonal up left, the diagonal and the straight on pull up for Pro 2. It's the best forward pull ups in the game. Shooting downhill into the midi with and without R2, it's the best. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I didn't want to be different, I'd be using it because it is so good as far as sealing players on your hip, keeping players behind you, and the smoothness of the animation. And it's also really quick and it's super smooth. My only problem is if you like to move laterally within the mid range, if you like baseline fades, or if you want to fade out of the corner, going towards that high elbow, it doesn't have a really good strong hand fade right or left, but at least going left it's really fast. Going to the right, it's a little bit susceptible to slowdowns. Doesn't have a really good contest reduction in that way. But again, the seals you get, the forward pulls you get are elite, the best in the game. If you're a guard, I'd say use D-Book or Pro 2. If you're a lock or a power forward, I'd say use Kobe Bryant. That's the verdict for me. I wouldn't use Devin Vassell unless you're like looking for clips or something. But I still love it. I still got a soft spot for it. And Klay Thompson's also really, really good if you can get used to how fast it is compared to some of the other pull-ups that we've talked about in this video. But yeah, I really wanted to just showcase elite perform. By the way, this is all from one day of recording, getting content, because I want to show y'all you can use really any animation in a game if you know how to get to your spots and be consistent in hitting those spots throughout the game. Even something like Vassell, which has, again, those inconsistencies, can still get you a 30 ball with relative ease. But I hope this video helped you out. I hope it gave you a little bit of extra insight and context behind some of these pull-ups. And yeah, that's all I got. I hope you enjoy. Please don't be racist, homophobic, or transphobic. And I'm Coach Chrome. I love you all, and I can't wait to get to the next video, man. This one was really fun to do, and I'm glad I was able to nerd out with y'all. So yeah, y'all have a good one. Peace.